Harvey Elliott's future at Liverpool has been the subject of plenty of uncertainty this summer, with questions over whether he would remain at Anfield or seek more regular minutes elsewhere. Now, with the transfer deadline fast approaching, a fresh update has provided much needed clarity on where the 22-year-old stands, and what fans can expect come deadline day. Let's break this down in today's video, along with all the other Liverpool news from the last 24 hours. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. But first, Alexander Isak's desired move to Liverpool could develop once Newcastle sign one of their two required strikers, with a deal likely at lower than £150 million. With Isak digging his heels in over a departure from St James's Park this summer, Newcastle's position on the Swede's future has weakened. However, the situation remains reliant on at least one new striker joining Eddie Howe's squad before any move is sanctioned for their number 14. There has long been confusing messaging around Isak's future, with Newcastle sources insisting he is not for sale, but also that if he is, it would take a fee in the region of £150 million. But the Times' Martin Hardy and Paul Joyce have provided an update this week, suggesting that a package worth £130 million could be enough to reach an agreement. That would be inclusive of add-ons, with Liverpool's only official bid for Isak so far being a flat sum of £110 million. In theory, the champions could potentially increase that offer with up to £20 million in achievable add-ons in order to satisfy the demands from Tyneside. There are, however, considerable doubts over whether Liverpool would be willing to go as high as £130 million, particularly given there is a clear commitment from Isak. If such a deal can brokered, though, Newcastle could then find themselves in a much stronger position to strengthen both this summer and, if needed, in the January transfer window. It is explained that at least one of the two strikers they need must be signed before any move for Isak is permitted, and the Athletic's David Ornstein has now reported that Jurgen Strand-Larsen has informed Wolves of his desire to join. Wolves are, however, insistent Larsen is not for sale, though head coach Vitor Pereira admitted earlier this week that every player has his price, and there are suggestions a third bid of upwards of £60 million would be enough. Brentford's Johan Wissa is another known target, but no agreement has been possible yet following two bids, with the London club also seeking as much as £60 million. Clearly, the situation must move quickly in order for Isak to secure his switch to Anfield, with the transfer deadline set for 7 PM on Monday evening. But there is a sense that once the pieces start to fall into place, Newcastle will be more agreeable than they were when they received that £110 million bid on August 1st. Now, in some huge Harvey Elliott news, Harvey Elliott is now considered more likely to stay at Liverpool than leave this summer, despite interest from a variety of clubs. Liverpool have received contact over a possible deal for Elliott, but as it stands, the midfielder looks set to stay at Anfield beyond Monday's transfer deadline. That is according to the Mail's Lewis Steele, who reports that there have been no bids for the 22-year-old so far. RB Leipzig approached the club to learn the conditions over a deal at the beginning of August, but with Xavi Simons yet to move there, have been no developments over a possible replacement. Similarly, there has been interest from West Ham, Crystal Palace and Brighton, with no progress in their advances for a player who finds himself on the fringes under Arne Slot. Liverpool value their number 19 at £40 million with a buyback clause, or £50 million without, and those lofty demands seem to have put suitors off. If Elliott stays, as is now expected, he is likely to remain in his bit part role, having come off the bench against Palace in the Community Shield and Newcastle in the Premier League so far this season. But his continued presence should be viewed as a positive, given Liverpool may need to call upon his blend of versatility and cutting edge as the season progresses. That will certainly be the case when Mohamed Salah departs for the Africa Cup of Nations over the festive period, while any injuries in midfield and attack could be solved by Elliott's inclusion. His eligibility as a homegrown player in both the Premier League and Champions League could also be valuable given a shortage of options otherwise. There could still be twists in the tale, with clubs no doubt growing desperate as Monday's 7 PM deadline nears, but it could even be argued that Liverpool would be leaving themselves short if they sold Elliott with replacing him. In other news, Liverpool boss Arne Slot saluted his team's fighting mentality after watching them kill off Newcastle's unlikely fight back with a decisive final punch. The Reds led Eddie Howe's 10 men 2-0 after 46 minutes at St James's Park on Monday evening and looked set to cruise to victory before the Magpies dragged themselves back into the game only to be felled finally by 16-year-old substitute Rio Ngumoha. Slot later admitted that the champions had been lucky to emerge with the points, but asked if that kind of result on that kind of night was what won titles. He replied, "That is the last thing I think about in this moment, if I'm honest. Winning away at Newcastle, then you definitely need to have quality, especially in an atmosphere like this. Not football quality, because that's not what we showed today. Apart from the last goal we scored, that looked a little bit like what I see on a daily basis on the training ground. But to have the mentality to fight here in such a hostile stadium, that is definitely something you also need if you want to compete in the end. Winning is something else, but at least competing, you definitely need to have this mentality, and that's what we showed." Liverpool arrived on Tyneside expecting a hostile welcome on and off the pitch as a result of their pursuit of Newcastle's star striker Alexander Isak, and they were not to be disappointed. 55th-minute lead against the run of play through Ryan Gravenberch and found themselves firmly in the driving seat in first half stoppage time when Newcastle's Anthony Gordon, debutising for Isak as a central striker, was sent off after a VAR review of his lunge at Virgil van Dijk. Hugo Ekitike, who might have been wearing black and white rather than red, had the Magpies been able to push home their interest in his before the Reds swooped, doubled their advantage seconds after the restart. But goals from Bruno Guimaraes and substitute Will Osula looked to have given the hosts a point before Rio swept home a winner in the 10th minute of stoppage time. Slot, who fielded midfielder Dominic Szoboszlai as an emergency right-back, said, "How do you sum up an evening like this up? It felt familiar to me. I think I have experienced a game like this once before since I'm here in England. That was Everton away last season, where so many things happened, where it was complete chaos, where the fans were so loud and so there for the home team, and our fans tried to help us as much as they could. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, and for us to stay strong in that atmosphere for such a long time is worth more to me than when we play every single time out from the back, and we have a 4 or 5-0 win." But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. We post all the latest Liverpool news every day, so join our fast growing community so you never miss out. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.